In order to solve quadratic equations where factorization is required, you will either get an equation where factorization has been done already, but it is also possible that you get something like x squared is equal to 16 where no factorization has been done. That means you have to do the factorization yourself. But remember, in the previous lesson, we were using the property that a multiplied by b is equal to 0. And so we need to rearrange this equation that we are given so that one side is equal to 0. So always rearrange. This will give us x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. And then we can factorize that. You'll realize that that is difference of two squares. Difference of two squares, so we put our brackets, draw brackets, and then in one bracket we put a plus sign, in the other bracket we put a minus sign. Then we take the square root of those terms. The square root of x squared is equal to x, so x goes to the left, and the square root of 16 is 4, so 4 goes to the right. Now you are back to that situation there where you are multiplying two things and you get an answer of 0. This means in this case either x plus 4 will be equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. If you solve this, this will give you x is equal to minus 4, and that will give you x is equal to 4. So what about this one here? Do the same thing. As soon as you see or recognize that your equation is quadratic, you need to rearrange the equation and make sure that one side is equal to 0. You know that an equation is quadratic when the exponent, the highest exponent in the equation is equal to 2. So this is a quadratic equation. We will therefore rearrange that. So x squared minus 36x is equal to 0. Then we factorize. This is not difference of two squares. This is where we factorize using the highest common factor. The highest common factor here is x. Can you see that? And so the other factor will be x minus 36. Then either x is equal to 0 or x minus 36 is equal to 0. Solve the other equation and you will get x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 36. Here's another example. This one is a quadratic trinomial. Trinomial because there are 3 terms in that expression. Quadratic because the highest exponent in this expression is 2. So remember how you factorize trinomials. In this case, we draw our brackets. Then remember we start with x squared. X squared means x times x, so x goes in one bracket and the other x into the other bracket. Then remember that we go to the 12 now. We then look for 2 factors of 12, but because in this case 12 is positive, it means our factors should have the same sign. And the sign that we should use in this case should be the negative sign because we are trying to get a minus 7 there. So we know that one of the factors will be negative and the other factor will be negative. Right, so think of 2 numbers that will give you 12 when you multiply them, and they'll give you a 7 when you add them. That should be 3 and 4. And so one of the factors should be negative 3 and the other one should be negative 4. So this is x minus 3 here and x minus 4 there. If you FOIL that expression, you will get back to x squared minus 7x plus 12. Then you continue, either x minus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. And if you solve these 2 equations, you will get x is equal to 3 or 4. Okay. Here's another example. I know this is quadratic because I can see the square there. And so this is a quadratic equation. If it is quadratic, then we need to rearrange it and make sure that the right-hand side is equal to 0, or one side is equal to 0. In this case, let's bring 4x and plus 12 to the left-hand side. We get x squared minus 4x minus 12 is equal to 0 because we're moving everything to the left. And then we factorize like normal. This is a trinomial. You can draw your brackets. Don't forget the equal to 0. Start with x squared. X squared is x multiplied by x. Then go to the 12. Now you will notice that that number 12 is negative, which means the two factors of 12 that we are looking for cannot carry the same sign. So if this is negative, then the other one should be positive. But we are trying to get these factors so that they give us the minus 4 that we have there. So 12 has many factors. 12 is 1 multiplied by 12. 1 and 12 cannot give you a 4. 12 is also 2 multiplied by 6. Somehow 2 and 6 will give you 4. So it can't be 1 and 12. It should be 2 and 6, the combination of 2 and 6. We know that there is another combination for 12. There is 3 and 4. But 3 and 4 added together cannot give us a 4. So we know that that one is out. So the correct one should be 2 and 6. But in this case, the number that we need to get is a minus 4. So the bigger of the two factors should be negative. So 6 should be negative. That means we have a minus 6 there and a plus 2 here. Then we can put those inside. Minus 6 here and a plus 2 there. You can always check by foiling. Right. We are solving the equation. So x minus 6 is equal to 0, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. Solve this, you'll get 6 for that one and negative 2 for the other one. Then what do you do with this one here? There are two things that you can do. And I'll just use one way. The one thing you can do is to write x minus 5 all squared as x minus 5 multiplied by x minus 5. That is what it means. You can do that. It's a longer method, but it is correct. And then you obviously need to FOIL, because remember, we need to move everything to one side so that we have one side equal to 0. So if you're going to FOIL this, the firsts will give you x squared. The outers will give you negative 5x. The inners will also give you minus 5x. And the lasts will give you plus 25. So all this is equal to 4. Then let's simplify and let's bring the 4 to the left-hand side so that the right-hand side is equal to 0. For quadratic equations, we need the 0. So this is x squared here. Minus 5x and minus 5x will give us minus 10x. Then bring the 4 to the other side. That will become 25 minus 4, which is plus 21. Now this is a trinomial we can now factorize. So factorize that. X squared means x times x. Now focus on the 21. We need two factors of 21. The 21 is positive, which means the signs should be the same. And because there is a minus here, it means those two should be both negative. So these are both negative factors that we are looking for. And we need a combination that will give us a 10. You can think about them, but 21 is 3 multiplied by 7. 3 and 7 will give you 10. So one should be negative 3 and the other one should be negative 7. This is negative 3 and that is negative 7. And you can continue like normal. Either x minus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 7 is equal to 0. And that will give you x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 7. I'd like you to use this method for now. We will discuss the other method later on, some other time.